Hi, I just wanted to jump on because I've seen posts about how you should not film or photograph in cemeteries because it's not respectful. I wanted to share some history and tell you why you should. Before we had central parks, cemeteries were designed as a respectful place to celebrate, walk, and even have picnics. They were never designed to be strictly solemn. Many of the historic cemeteries have accounts and share photos and videos made by visitors, and it allows them to thrive. There are cemeteries that have merchandise and gift shops. I see comments where people say to not walk on people, and that isn't how it works. Cemeteries are designed with angles and burial spaces so you're never stepping on someone. This doesn't come without guidelines. You should not film or photograph modern graves of people you don't know. Victorian cemeteries need to be remembered so that they are kept up. Recent burials within the last 100 years are places where living relatives should grieve. You should not do extreme or Halloween photo shoots in cemeteries because most places do not want that kind of art created there. If you want Halloween shoots, I'd suggest props. Lastly, you should never step, lie, or stand on monuments when you visit them because it could damage them.
Grave robbers with a taste for lace? It must be another episode of Beyond the Veil. Historically, it was popular amongst the European elite to be buried in their finest lace, which led to the problem of lace theft from graves centuries later. Supposedly, English officers stationed in Corfu, Greece in the 19th century paid high prices for lace dug up in local cemeteries. The dirtier and more decayed, the better. When supplies of genuine grave lace ran low, some dealers artificially distressed and dyed their lace to look as though it had been rotting in a tomb.
Upon one summer's morning, I carefully did stray down by the walls of war.
The Mount Moriah Cemetery in Deadwood, South Dakota is known to be one of the most haunted cemeteries in the state, and it's the final resting place for a number of famous outlaws, including Calamity Jane and Wild Bill Hickok himself. It's a beautiful place, and I visited on a rainy day. Love it!
This is definitely on the weirder side of things I've done, but this is someone's gravestone and it's covered by moss, so I'm going to clean it up. So the state not only just gave this person a number on their gravestone, but now they're letting it get covered up, as well as the 5,000 other headstones in this graveyard. And to take this sad story one step further, most of these people were buried here because they had anxiety or depression, and their families shipped them off to a psych ward on Long Island.
Another morbid story time. Most of us are familiar with medical anesthesia, but may not know the crazy story behind its inventor. This is his gravesite. Dr. Horace Wells was a young dentist who developed an interest in laughing gas after a demonstration. He wanted to apply those same numbing effects to his patients. Later, he experimented with ether and chloroform as anesthetic methods. While he was experimenting, he induced an episode that ended with him throwing acid on two innocent women. For his actions, he was thrown in jail, where he ultimately took his own life. The Lady of the Dunes. On July 26, 1974, a 9-year-old was walking her dog in the Race Point Dunes in Massachusetts when she stumbled upon a severely decomposed body. The woman had likely been dead for 2 weeks and was missing her hands and teeth. She had been nearly decapitated. There were 2 sets of footprints and tire tracks leading to the body. The body was laid to rest, unidentified in October in St. Peter's Cemetery, to later be exhumed in 1980, 2000, and 2013. A tip from Stephen King's son suggested that she may have been an extra cast in the 1975 film Jaws, as her outfit was similar to one worn in a scene filmed nearby. To this day, her identity is a mystery. When Jonathan Reed lost his wife Mary in 1893, he moved into her mausoleum. He bought her a mausoleum in the Evergreen Cemetery in Brooklyn and furnished it with parlor furniture, paintings, her unfinished crochet, and their pet parrot. When their beloved parrot quoth nevermore, he had the bird taxidermied to forever reside in the tomb. He kept Mary's casket adorned with fresh flowers always. Thousands, including monks from Tibet, visited Jonathan in his grief over the next 12 years, as he spent every moment at Mary's side. As many as 7,000 folks paid him a visit in the first year. Newspaper reports from his death indicate that his initial collapse occurred right with Mary, a true account of Till Death Do Us Part.
There's a dark secret in Boston's oldest graveyard. Established in 1630, the King's Chapel burying ground used to resemble more like a boneyard. People were buried in a very chaotic pattern, and families' bones were mostly crumbled up together. Hence, if you were walking these hollowed grounds before the 1800s, you were most likely stepping on a few bones. Many notable people are buried here, including John Winthrop, the founder of Boston. But another infamous person is buried here, George Parkman, who was a Boston Brahmin, aka a city aristocrat, that was murdered by a Harvard lecturer, John Webster. He killed him because he owed him a lot of money, and his body was found in Webster's Harvard laboratory, ended up becoming the very first forensic case in America. However, I mentioned bones earlier. Well, if you were to find a bone in the graveyard, you have to place it here, in this deposit box. It's something you'll find in older graveyards, and here's where George Parkman's remains lie. Stay curious, my friends.
A few weeks ago, I did a video of Lulu E. Fellow's monument here at Rose Hill Cemetery in Chicago, and a lot of people wanted to know more about Lulu and what she was all about. Lulu died November 23rd of 1883. She was only 16 years old. She presumably died of whatever diseases were going around at the time, but she was actually a rising elocutionist in the Chicago theater community. It's not really an art form anymore, but it was basically the art of pronunciation, where people would read great works and enunciate the words properly, and people would come from all around to see this. And she was actually trained to do it by a professor that was a professor of elocution. So what's up with the money and how does it get in there? Well, it gets in through these vents that people jimmied open, but it actually comes from paying your respects. It originally started with soldiers' graves, where you'd leave money on the grave to let the family know that you had visited, and that money would go towards the maintaining of the grave. And that just kind of translated to all these monuments as well.
This is the Connecticut Valley Hospital Cemetery in Middletown, Connecticut. This cemetery unfortunately attests to the undignified treatment of neurodiverse patients in early medicine that continued into modern times. None of the markers are distinguished by names or birth dates of those buried here, and instead only bear numbers. The Connecticut General Hospital for the Insane was founded in 1868 and recorded its first burial on this property in 1878, with the final burial occurring in 1957. The hospital itself has been documented as overcrowded since its inception. A total of 1,681 people were recorded to be buried here and left nameless. Years later, a memorial was added as well as an index to identify the monuments, thanks to the hard work of advocates.
This is one of the most haunted houses in Texas, the Sneed House. Construction on the home started in 1852 and was inhabited by the Sneed family. It was actually an old plantation home, and the family, regrettably, had slaves. Interestingly enough, it served as a Confederate recruitment station and hospital, and one of the daughters of the Sneed family died here. We really wanted to go inside and explore, but we couldn't because of the gate and the barbed wire, but it was kind of funny that we were being stopped by barbed wire, and I've got 3 barbed wire tattoos. There were some old creepy shoes outside of the home, but empty-handed we decided to walk away and go check out our second location, the Sneed Family Cemetery, which is abandoned in the woods behind a paint shop. As we walked up there, we noticed that there was a homeless camp on top of the cemetery. That means people were living on the graves, and somebody literally came out of the woods and started screaming at us to get out. Since we didn't want any trouble or to get hurt, we just left empty-handed, but I managed to get this shot of the guy who screamed at us.
So this is what's called an above-ground crypt. This is one of my favorite ones in our local cemetery. It is so beautiful. As I walk around, you can see the black granite and the 2 benches on the side, and you see the vents there. That helps take the smell out. It has 4 of them, 2 on each side. This is the back. Again, there's the vents. And when you see, they even have this walkway that you can walk up that's very nice, and the steps. Now, they've actually prepaid for this because, as you can see, the date of death is not on there. That means there's nobody actually in these. But they are one of my favorites. It's a walk up, it's black, it's just gorgeous.
Allow me to introduce you to Inez Clark. Inez Clark died at the age of 6 years old on August 1st of 1881. Legend has it she was struck by lightning during a family picnic. Her grandparents commissioned this statue for her here at Graceland Cemetery in Chicago. And legend has it that when children are visiting the cemetery, they report playing with a little girl around the age of Inez in turn of the century 1800s type clothes. The parents swear that there was no little girl around. Other reports are from night watchmen that when there's a thunderstorm, this box becomes empty. And there are still other reports that they see little girl running around the cemetery playing. But is any of it true?
I'm in Beaufort for a day, and I'm at one of the oldest grave sites in North Carolina, the old burying grounds. Let's go check it out. Check out this gate. Come on. Don't forget to ask permission from the overarching spirit if you can be in the gravesite before going in one. We're good. One of the coolest things here is you can have a self-led walking tour. Check out these pamphlets. There's so much. Okay, so we are in search of a little girl who's buried in a rum barrel. More to come. Okay, but how gorgeous is this place? I feel like I'm walking into Narnia, but like graveyard style. So I kid you not, underneath these bushes are gravestones. I know we're getting close, but we're not there yet. Check out these trees. No joke, I'm trying so hard not to step on people. I'm not sure what happened here, but it makes me really sad to see this kind of devastation. I'm sorry, Margaret and Nancy. I hope you get fixed soon. There's her grave. Look at all the nice things people have given to her. Okay, so this little girl died at sea, and the only way to get her back was to preserve her in rum. Don't want to wear a mask? Let's go hang out at a burial ground. Okay, but really, this is one of the most notorious burial grounds in North Carolina. Welcome to Cedar Grove Cemetery. Why is it notorious, you ask? Supposedly, if water drops on you from that arch, you're gonna die soon. And it rained here a few days ago, so I'm kind of nervous right now. So let's go inside together, shall we? However, before going inside, I'm making an offering to the spirits of silver coins. This place has got some energy, but I feel it in my gut. I've got the go-ahead, so let's see. Okay, no drops. We're good. Okay, check this place out. And they've got a map and brochure. Great, so first of which, make sure our spirits have the coins there. Alright, let's check out who's here. The Weeping Arch that I just went through and didn't die. And of course, Stanley, who I just did a video on as well. Plenty to check out here. And the guy who created Pepsi is also buried here.
There is something at this. Go over there, Trevor. We put the voice recorder on top of this tombstone. This is Trevor. There is something next to him. It seriously. Okay, it's gone. Now it's back. Now, okay, let's move around. There's no date or name on this or anything, but we do have a recorder on top, so we're going to see if we catch any voices. If you can hear me, turn blue.
Looks like an angel's wings almost in a way.
It does look like angel wings. It's not turning blue. It looks like a person with their arm up. Mm-hmm. Hello?
Are you waving?
Can you wave to me? Hi. Oh my gosh, it's waving. Hi.
Please do so.
It's waving. It's tall. Hello. Can you wave to me? Can you turn blue? It's blue. It's purple. Hello.
But if you go to the very back of the cemetery, no, not the back, but the very back, as far back as you can go, there you will find someone very, very special. The small 122-year-old unremarkable stone is severely weathered and worn. The words and markings on the stone have faded long, long ago. Buried next to two old bushes rests a young 5-month little girl, whose name is forever memorialized in one of the best-known stories in American literature, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz.
Dorothy lived in the midst of the great Kansas prairies with Uncle Henry, who was a farmer, and Aunt Em, who was the farmer's wife.
Dorothy Louise Gage was born to Sophia and Thomas Gage